Once you know your personal six-digit mind cipher, you can spot the psychological manipulation behind why someone keeps popping into your head and stop that intrusive thought that feels weirdly synced with your brain. To get the first number in your six-digit code, first, just be open to weird, unsettling explanations as to why someone could be infiltrating your thoughts. Crazy as it might sound, if it's true, when someone has this kind of access, they can attach to you and drain your energy. I figured this out after obsessing over a bad episode of this myself. The biggest mistake I was making, and I hope that you can avoid this, was treating the thoughts like they were telling me to do something. But that was exactly what the infiltrator wanted me to do. So to get that first part of the code right, I learned that just because a particular person is stuck in your head, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily supposed to reconnect or reopen a door that was already closed. Depending on who that person is who keeps coming into your awareness, or what time in your life that person represents, you might be feeling like you need to apologize or confess something. But don't do that yet. All it means right now, before we explore the other 5 parts of the combination, is that something got activated in you. But if you notice that you're feeling drained or exhausted for no other obvious reason, it's certainly not out of the realm of possibilities that someone is using dark tactics on you. There's a whole breed of crazies out there, and let us put nothing beyond them, and their capacity for screwing with you is infinite. So first, just notice that the signal is there before we move on to deciphering the second number in the code. And you heard that right. There's a definite signal. This is not your imagination, my person. In neuroscience, we know that repeated thoughts strengthen neural pathways, and neurons that fire together wire together. But also, that means that your emotional algorithm might have been broadcasting, and that left you wide open for exploitation. So when that person showing up in your mind is uninvited, it could be linked to a strong emotional charge. Since your brain is more efficient at returning to pain points like trauma, rejection, humiliation, that you've already lived more than a few times in your life, your thoughts and experience with that person has allowed both of your minds to build a very efficient road back to each other. That's why someone can be in your mind after a conversation or a strange look, and especially if there's an unanswered text or a relationship that ended in a really nonsensical way. Our brain, those neurons, don't do well with ambiguity. We like completion. But I urge you, let it simmer first, because if you skip this part of the combination lock and go straight into anger or curiosity about that person and what they're doing, you've already gotten it wrong. There's just 4 more steps to see clearly and make it stop. So who is this person? Is it an ex or an estranged friend? Are you feeling bad about leaving them or cutting off contact? Because sometimes that brain neuron signal is stronger because the other person also feels the open loop between you. And you may mutually crave closure. But if it's an ex person that you want to know more about what they're doing, or you wonder why they left, or why they cheated, why they treated you like crap, if that's the case, be open to the possibility that you are the only one tuning into them, because you might be the only person who feels like closure is needed. So your neural pathways to each other creates a mutual signal, but if there's not one, search for the third number in the code. You've probably had that experience where you think of someone out of nowhere and then they text you. Is that not just the coolest thing? Has that happened to you? How does that work for you? Does that only happen with family members, or do you also get an unexpected payout? Do tell. What happens is our brain and body operate through electrical waves, measurable frequencies. We don't exist in a vacuum like many physics theories are based on. We are rhythmic biological organisms embedded inside larger planetary rhythms involving light, magnetism, weather, sound, and cycles of the planet. The Earth has frequency, the Schumann resonance. But also, as Earth bodies ourselves, we're always attuning or projecting our own electromagnetic waves. Human frequency even overlaps with the Earth frequency. Now, bring that back to this situation. Your brain and body can lock onto that same pattern, like connecting to a public Wi-Fi signal. That's why it feels like they're just showing up in your mind out of nowhere. This is where you're in a room full of strangers when suddenly you lock eyes with someone that you don't even know. Neither of you looked first, it just happened. Has that happened to you? Can you please tell me in the comments what you did in that situation? Was it awkward? Did you wave? Just curious what you're all doing with that signal. Either way, just because the Wi-Fi is strong and you're in sync with it, doesn't mean that it's aligned with you and your goals, and by default, it doesn't mean that it's coming from that person, although it definitely could be. But this is probably the trickiest part of the combo to get right. You don't know what wave you're on, and you don't know what wave they're on. You might need to really double down on number 6 to suss this one out. Because if it's someone that you want to be with or want to be accepted by, or really just think that they're chill and you like their vibe, then there is something deeper here to explore. And I'm talking about projection. And if you get all the other numbers in the combination right, but you miss this one, this brain virus isn't likely to resolve. If the thought feels like it's coming over you and they're intrusive, heavy, or angry, or like it's pressing onto your field, you may be dealing with someone projecting onto you in a negative way. In stronger cases, that kind of projection can function like spells, curses, or hexes, which I'll touch on in a minute. But if you're the one doing the projecting, they could pop up into your mind and stay there as you replay conversations or try to have a convo in your mind with them, which is exactly why you have to be careful. That said, if you do have someone intruding uninvited, check out one of my several videos on energy hygiene or psychic attacks. There's a lot of weird and dark stuff out there. That's something to ask about in my Q&A. All weird questions are allowed. I find that the more you put yourself out there, even if it's just learning to have a voice or taking a class, you encounter more weird stuff. Strangely enough, even certain cities just seem to have more crazies than others, like the whole city has an average vibe of ickness. If it's the I like their vibe thing, they are likely literally vibing with you too. So it's sort of a mutual beneficial vibe fest. And that person might be popping into your mind because they are actually good for you. So trust your intuition on this one, considering the other parts of the combination that you're still trying to unlock. If it feels uncharacteristically intense, you might be tempted to jump straight to, well, this must be a twin flame or a soul contract, past life connection, generally something huge and cosmic, especially if it's someone that you don't even know. That is so super interesting, and that intensity feels really meaningful. But at the same time, stay grounded in all possibilities, because when something is intense and repetitive, it doesn't mean by default that it's a twin flame or a soul contract. Most of the time, intensity is about friction. So if you land here without considering any other possibilities, you're not solving anything. Let's finish the combination lock to read the whole field accurately and with patience. The 6th and final key to your mind cipher is your dreams. They will be most definitive in untangling all the layers that come with confusing, intrusive thoughts involving another person. They will reveal the magic, and you can rely on them. If you want to know for sure which of these numbers you're getting right and which ones you're getting wrong, you're going to see it in your dreams. I can, of course, help you with your dream, bring it into my live dream decoding Q&A, Link is in the comments and descriptions. Here's 3 things to look for in your dreams or even day visions if you don't remember your dreams, so you know exactly what to look for. First thing to look for in your dreams is if there's an emotional charge with this person in your dream, like anger, annoyance, or abuse. That's unresolved energy, and frankly, one of you might be projecting negativity towards the other even without realizing it. I would definitely pull the string a bit more. Maybe ask your dreams or intuition or whatever you ask. Some of you talk to God, angels, guides. Just ask, what is there unresolved here? Am I responsible for something? Second, if they come into your dream and try to collect info or try to get you to sign something that doesn't feel right, or they don't make eye contact, that's a huge red flag. You might need an energetic hygiene clearing because your energy is likely enmeshed with theirs in not a very good way. There may be a spell or curse, or as I recently experienced, someone was trying to remote view me, and she showed up in my dream trying to look at a new dream project that I was working on. She wasn't successful, but it did alert me to her tricks. Someone who put a smear campaign on me in the past shows up in my dreams a few days before he's about to spread a rumor. Immediate suspicion here. But if you have a dream with them and they are calm, clear, and cooperative, that could point to a completely different category. That might be a twin flame or a soul contract type of situation. And that's pretty interesting and maybe even a bit terrifying, because to resolve that, you're really going to have to dig deeper into some esoteric stuff that might take some time. All it takes to resolve these particularly intrusive thoughts is to see all parts of the code. And maybe only one aspect applies to you, but once you see it, you'll stop being pulled by it and you can address that particular reason. So if you need an energetic clearing, do it. You can learn to do it yourself, or you can find me in my school community or website. I'm happy to help, because that kind of intrusive thought doesn't usually go away on its own. For soul contracts or twin flames, I'd look into some contract clearing and soul energy work that focuses especially on that. And by the way, I have a Dream Dragon workshop coming up that will address this. If it's emotional charge or projecting, we can talk about one of my inner work journeys that will help you dissolve these cords that are still attached and draining you and bringing you pain.